Fresh and
All right, welcome back to another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh. You can call me Tom, and you guys are all my buds. We got a great episode for you today. We got the Tales of Aria set review. I'm pretty stoked to get into this. This set looks pretty amazing. A lot of depth, cool flavor, and some awesome heroes, and we'll get to all those. But before we get into that, I just want to say, as of me recording this, you can find the show on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and now iTunes. Finally, took a while, but you know, what can you do? And YouTube. And this show will have a visual version. Recording it at the same time, where you'll see the cards. If my descriptions of them aren't enough in audio, you'll see them, and you'll see my face too. A face made for podcasting. I'll tell you that. So. Yeah, without further ado, I mean, I think we should just get into it, but I guess the first thing to say is the rating system. What is the Fresh and Buds rating system? Well, it's got 4 different ratings you can get. We're going to go from, there's Fresh to Death, which is like really good. Like a card, limited, constructed, you're going to want this card. Right, when you crack a pack, you look at it and like, wow, I want to play with this card, and it's going to be good. And then great, I should say great. And then you got Fresh, just like Fresh, right? And Fresh is like a step down. It's like a good card. It's nothing crazy exciting, but you're always going to be happy to have in your deck. And in limited, it'll probably lead you down a certain path towards the deck that you're gonna draft, or even in the sealed pool that you open. The next tier down is we're gonna call it stale, kind of the other side of Fresh, right? It's like mediocre, right? I mean, you'll play it if you have to, but in most cases, you're not gonna play it, and constructed probably like never. So unless there's really niche situations or some niche interactions, but for the most part you're staying away from those cards. And then the worst rating, it took me a hot minute to figure out what exactly I was going to call the last rating, but I'm going to just go with Stanky, right? We're just going to, like, this is a Stanky card. And we're just gonna stay away from it and not play it. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's see if this transition works here. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with the generic equipment, and then I'm gonna break it down by hero, and then we're gonna get into like the talent based cards, which are elemental, ice, earth, lightning. And hopefully it makes sense that way, and hopefully I didn't miss any cards because I imported these all from FabDB, and great site if you're not using it. So first card out of the gate here is a generic. This is a common generic equipment, arms, Cracker Jacks. First of all, love the name. It has 0 defense, which isn't that great, but it's generic. I mean, what can you expect? So it has to have some kind of action, and it does. The action is destroy Cracker Jacks. The next attack action card you play this turn gets +1 attack. Go again. So, I mean, limited, I think you're gonna want this. I mean, equipment in general are pretty sought after because there's only so much in a certain pool. So I don't think you're going to be unhappy with this. I would say probably a limited fresh and then constructed stale. I would say, but maybe if you're going budget, not the worst, not the worst for sure. It definitely sets you up for some pretty cool turns. So not a bad card. Next we got deep. How about see if I can do this correctly. Deep blue. Why are you doing this? There we go. Deep blue. This is generic equipment chest. 0 defense. So must have an action, and it does. Put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Destroy deep blue. Gain 3 resources. Go again. I actually like this. I like this a lot. I mean, resources. One of the things in Flesh and Blood that you'll find is sometimes you just won't have the resources in your hand for all the cards in your hand, and something like Deep Blue is going to help there. You want to go off on a huge turn. Deep Blue is going to help, and I think it's probably, I would say, pretty sought after in draft and limited, and then I think a very fine budget option in constructed. So I like Deep Blue. I think it's cool. I think that's a cool looking vest too. If you see the art, it's a nice looking vest. Now it's moving slow. Before it wasn't. All right. Ragamuffin's hat is next. So here's the generic equipment head. 0 attack. Instant. Destroy Ragamuffin's hat. Draw a card, then put a card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. Activate this ability only if you have 1 card in your hand. I'm gonna say this card is pretty stanky. Like, you'll play it in limited if you have to, but I think outside of that, you're going to stay away from it because you draw a card, then put a card. Yeah. So you stay at the 1 card in hand regardless. So basically, I guess what you're trying to do is maybe find a better card to put in your arsenal or a 0-costed card if you have an action point, which it's just a little bit too much of a risk. So yeah, Stanky is as hell, man. So I would stay away from Ragamuffin's hat personally, but there might be something I'm missing, but we'll see. Next we got the generic legs. Runaways. 0 defense. Instant. Destroy Runaways. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn. Activate this ability only if your hero has been dealt damage this turn. Stale-ish. It's not ever seen playing constructed. I don't love it, but I guess there's some application as to preventing normal damage and arcane damage, but still, I mean, you got to give up the whole boot. I mean, you'd rather play, some kind of null room anyway. So, not a huge fan. It's mostly stanky, maybe with some staleness for limited. All right, now we got the first hero, Oldhim or Oldheim. I don't know how it's pronounced, but this is Oldhim, grandfather of eternity. So he's got 4 intellect and 40 life. He's an elemental guardian hero, which means you can play guardian cards or elemental cards in your deck, and generics, obviously. He has essence of earth and ice. You may have earth and ice cards in your deck. So that's his talents, right? He's elemental and like with these like sub talents of earth and ice. He has a once per turn defense reaction, 3 resources. If an earth card is pitched this way, prevent the next 2 damage that would be dealt to Oldheim this turn. If an ice card is pitched this way, the attacking hero puts a card from their hand on top of their deck. So personally, I love this hero. I'm definitely going to build him. And I also think this effect is really strong. Clearly, you're going to want a lot of blues in your deck. And there are some strong blues in Guardian Elemental that we'll see. You want some blues. You want to play a defensive game, I think, a lot of the time. And then set up some really big turns. And you can have, I mean, it has hand disruption, which is just awesome. Sometimes you can pitch an ice card and they have to put a card away from their hand on that first attack, after that first attack, and their whole turn is just ruined. So I think Oldheim is fresh to death. Obviously, you got to build a good deck around him, but fresh to death, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a real strong player in the upcoming meta. And we also have the young version of him, just regular Oldheim. Though I was saying to somebody it should have been young him. But, I'm not making the cards, guys. I'm not making them. But yeah, he's the same thing, big step 4 intellect, 20 health for Blitz and limited. Yeah, so let's get into some of the cards that he has in his arsenal. We're going to get to his some of the equipment. First, I think there will be some other equipment. No, maybe not. I forget how I mixed them up, but we're going to get to every card anyway. So first off, we have the legendary Rampart of the Ram's Head. This is a Guardian equipment offhand. So this is a shield. Whenever you defend with Rampart of the Ram's Head, you may pay 1. If you do, it gains +1 defense until end turn. It starts with 0 defense. So, and we're going to see this. Oldheim usually has a, and obviously Bravo could technically use this as well as straight up Guardian, but he has a hammer in one hand, shield in the other. Pretty awesome. This card seems really strong. The extra, and this kind of goes into the whole theme of Oldhim. I'll switch back and forth, I guess, on how to pronounce his name, but it goes into the defensive theme of him, and I think people are going to underestimate how great it is to be able to just add 1 defense every turn within equipment. I think he's going to be a strong player. I think his auto include in his deck, as far as I can tell. And if you open this, I mean, you're going to be happy as a legendary. Let's be honest. If you open this in limited, I think you should slam it and you're like, all right, well, I'm trying to build Oldheim. Oldheimer Schmidt. I don't know. But yeah, I like this card a lot. Fresh to death on Rampart of the Ram's Head. Next, we got Rotten Old Buckler. This is the common shield. It's an offhand, one hand. It's got Blade Break. When you defend with Buckler, destroy it when the combat chain closes. It has 1 defense. So I think it's actually a pretty fresh card. It's the rating, I think. If you are if you're playing constructed Oldheim and you haven't gotten your hands on the Rampart yet, I think this is fine to put in there with one of the hammers. And in limited, I think this is great. It's like you if you pick this early, you can solidify yourself into the Oldheim deck. I think it's awesome. So yeah, I give it a fresh across the board. It's a nice budget option for constructed Oldheim, and and we'll see how it plays out. I think it's going to be pretty. I think these shields. I think the idea of shields is great, and I'm glad we're starting to see them. And I'm excited to see how they explore that design space going forward. Next, we have the first hammer. This is the common hammer. It's called Titan's Fist. It's got 3 attack, and once it has a once per turn action. Pitch 3 attack, and when there is a card with cost 3 or greater in your pitch zone, Titan's Fist has +1. I like weapons that are attacking for 4, because most cards aren't going to be able to defend all of that with 1 card. So as a common option, I think this is pretty fresh. You have to keep in mind of how many cards in your deck have a high cost, 3 or greater, but I think naturally the Guardian deck is going to have that. I think this is going to come together really well. So let me give it a nice old fresh. And now we got Winter's Wail. This is the majestic elemental Guardian weapon. It has once per turn action, 3 resources, attack. If an ice card is pitched this way, it also attacks for 4, sorry. If an ice card is pitched this way, Winter's Wail gains. If this hits a hero, create a Frostbite token. So I should go over what Frostbite tokens are, shouldn't I? But this card, when I say what a Frostbite token is, you're gonna enjoy this. I mean, this card's great. So it's basically the last card. It's Titan's Fist, attacking for 4 no matter what. Right? You don't have to have that one qualifier. Let me just. But when it hits, hero gets the Frostbite token. I think Frostbite tokens are gonna change the meta quite a bit, and I'll tell you why. So the opponent gets the Frostbite token. A Frostbite token says card. So it's an elemental token aura. Cards and activated abilities you control cost an additional resource at the beginning of your end phase, or when you play a card or activated ability. Destroy Frostbite. So basically, it puts a tax on the first attack or action or instant or action or no, it's cards. So it puts a tax on the first card or activated ability your opponent's gonna play on their next turn, which is very good. I'm thinking of Chain here. Seeds of Agony costing 1 extra is a huge tax, because the reason that card's so good is cost 0 out of your banish zone. So now Winter's Wail is going to put one of these tokens into play, and there are going to be other cards, and we'll see them in the Guardian deck, or just ice cards in general, that are going to create these tokens. And if you can stack a bunch of these tokens on your opponent's field, their next turn could be just straight up shot. So they could either choose to not play anything and wait for the tokens to go away, which doesn't seem like that great, honestly, or they're just going to have to pay the tax. So it is very exciting. I think this is a cool effect, and it's going to create this really cool, taxing archetype, and I'm excited to see it. So Winter's Wail to me gets a fresh to death. I think this card's awesome. I can't wait to play with it. I'll definitely be having the Rampart and the Winter's Wail in my Oldheim deck, and I'll be jamming, man. It's going to be awesome. So next we have Embolden. So the way I'm doing this is I have each color up next to each other, and for the for people who don't really understand, so the red, yellow, and blue Red pitches for 1, yellow pitches for 2, blue pitches for 3. And they do this for most cards, most commons and rares. They have 3 different versions, and they all have the same effect, except it's altered based on their pitch value. So the red one pitches for less resources, but has a stronger effect. So, and then it'll usually go down by one kind of effect in each color. So go red will be, so for instance, embolden. So this is a Guardian action aura, has 3 defense. It costs 4, which is it's not exactly a cheap cost, but as we saw with the Titan's Fist, that it's that's going to be something that triggers it for him. It is a rare. Go again. When Embolden enters the arena, if you control another non-token aura, draw a card. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Embolden, then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn gets +5. So this is the kind of card that you're going to set up a really big turn the next time. So the reds and as you see, the red has 5, the yellow gives +4, and the blue gives +3. So it goes down usually by 1 in Flesh and Blood. This card is it's very defensive too. It's got a nice defense cost of 3. I actually think this card is a pretty cool way for this defensive Guardian deck to really set up that really big turn, especially the red one, man. +5 is huge. And I think it's going to play pretty well. I'm going to give it a fresh. I'm not going to give it quite fresh to death. It's not something like I'm jumping at the bit to play, but I think it's going to be pretty solid. So, yeah, and that's a rare. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it is a rare. So you won't see it that much in limited anyway. So the next card we have is Guardian action, Tear Asunder, Majestic. So this one, most of the Majestics only have 1 pitch cost. So this one is a blue, pitches for 3. It costs 3, has 3 defense. Your next Guardian attack this turn gains +1, Dominate. And if you don't know what Dominate is, when an attack is dominated, your opponent can only block with 1 card. So your next Guardian attack this turn gets +1, Dominate, and if this hits a hero, they discard 2 cards. Go again. Wow. I think this card is awesome. I mean, it's straight up Guardian, so it can go into Bravo too, which is really good news for this card. I think this is going to be this card's absolutely insane. So let's say most cards are going to hit, right? You're giving them +1 and Dominate. So they're going to have to block with 1 card, and maybe they might not even want to block it because they're going to have to discard 2 cards, right? And look at the situation of maybe having set up an Embolden the turn before. That pops on your turn. You play this. Your attack's getting 6 attack plus Dominate, and then if it hits, they discard 2 cards. This card is just absolutely insane. This is fresh to death if I've ever seen it. Awesome art too. Got this big old Guardian. I don't even know. It's opening the clouds. It looks pretty wild. I think this card's really awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with. So yeah, fresh to death for Tear Asunder. Next, we have Thump, which I like that. I like a good old one-word card name. Thump is a common. So you got red, yellow, blue. Red, it's a Guardian attack action. It's got 6 attack, 3 defense. Good stats. Cost 4. A little pricey. While Thump's attack is greater than its base, it has Dominate, and if it hits a hero, they discard a card. That's pretty strong for a for a common. I like this card. I think it's going to, you're going to have to keep that in mind when you build with this card, that you want cards to modify as attack. And the red obviously going to be the best for this. And the red, yellow, blue on this goes six attack, 5 attack, 4 attack. So I think Thump is actually pretty fresh, especially for limited. We'll see if it gets there and constructed, but it is. I mean, these discard effects are really powerful. I think we ought to keep that in mind when evaluating them. Like, you only have 4 cards in hand, so it's it's very strong. So yeah, fresh for Thump. We'll see on constructed, but definitely for limited. Next we got Awakening. This is another majestic. So Awakening is an Elemental Guardian instant. Pitches for blue. Costs 2 to play. It has Earth Fusion. And now Fusion is, as an additional cost to play Awakening, you may reveal an Earth card from your hand. And then usually when you do that, the card will have an additional effect when you play it. So if you have less life than opposing hero, create a Seismic Surge tokens equal to the difference. If Awakening was fused, instead create twice that many Seismic Surge tokens. Search your deck for a Guardian attack action card with cost less than or equal to the number of Seismic Surge tokens you control. Reveal it, put into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Yeah, this card's pretty insane. And for those of you who don't, let me just get the right wording on Seismic Surge. For those of you who don't know what a Seismic Surge token is, it says at the beginning of your action phase, destroy Seismic Surge, then the next Guardian attack action you play this turn costs 1 less to play. So, yeah, I mean, it sets up for some huge turns, just like basically your whole hand's free, which is insane. You're creating a bunch of them, especially if you fused. I mean, that's insane. It's like if you have less, like obviously, you gotta wait, and that's the nice thing about it being an instant. You gotta wait until you have less life than your opponent, and then you get to go search for a Guardian attack action card, which yeah, it's pretty awesome. Play at the end, like they get in at you for a huge attack on their turn. End of your turn, you play Awakening. You make 3, 4, 5 tokens. Go get a good card. Like you can go get you can go get a Thump if you can 4 of them. I mean, there's better targets, but yeah, I think this card is fresh to death. I think this is very good. A little situational, but I think it's easy to make it work. And obviously, you got to be playing Earth cards in your deck because not every Guardian, not every Oldheim deck is going to play a lot of Earth. They might focus a little more on Ice, but we'll see. Next, we have another rare, Biting Gale. Why are you biting her? No, Biting Gale is a Elemental Guardian defense reaction. It costs 2 and has Ice Fusion. As an additional cost to play Biting Gale, you may reveal an Ice card from your hand. If Biting Gale was fused, the attacking hero discards a card unless they pay 2 resources. And the red has 4 defense, the yellow has 3, and the blue has 2. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think these discard effects are really good. We haven't really seen this in Flesh and Blood yet, and I think people are going to underestimate how powerful this is. I mean, pay 2. If they have a hand of reds, it's like, well, I have to discard a card. And if they, even if they have yellows in their hand, they're going to I'm going to just pay for it, I guess. Like, most of the time, it's just discard a card. So, it seems like a really strong card. I'm almost. I'm just gonna give it fresh, but it is eking up into that fresh to death, um, fresh to death territory. I think it is legitimately very strong, especially the red when you're blocking for 4-2, right? It's or defend reactioning for 4-2, and I think it's going to really be a strong player. Next, we have emerging avalanche. So this is a common, and it's an elemental guardian action aura. It costs 2, has 3 defense. It has ice fusion. Go again. When emerging avalanche enters the arena, if it was fused, create a frostbite token under target hero's control. Cool. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy emerging avalanche. Then the next attack action you play this turn gains +3 attack, and there'll be 2 attack and 1 attack for the yellows and blue, just respectfully. I like this card. Limited is very fresh, I think. You're going to want to play these cards. This is another set up a big turn type of card. And, I mean, I like, to really get the full value, I think you really got to be playing a decent amount of ice. I'd say it's pretty fresh. It can err on the stale side if you've already committed to an Earth style deck, and all of a sudden this pops up in the pack and limited. So be wary of that. It's the effect is fine, but I don't know if you want to spend your turn doing that if you haven't fused. So keep that in mind. Next we got another majestic endless winter. The art on this bad boy is awesome. So this is Oldheim's specialization card. Hope you guys can read this. It's very for some reason my computer's showing the writing is very small, but I'm powering through it. It has ice fusion. It's got first of all, it's an elemental guardian attacks. Oldheim specialization. You can only play with Oldheim. It's an attack. 8 attack, 3 defense. So, all right. So that's a big attack. Cost 4. Pretty expensive, but has ice fusion. If Endless Winter was fused, whenever the defending hero adds a defending card to this chain link, create a frostbite token under their control. Wow. If Endless Winter hits a hero until the end of their next turn, whenever they activate an ability, create a frostbite token under their control. Wow. Okay. So this to me, obviously it's a specialization card, Endless Winter, Oldheim. This card tells me exactly what Oldheim wants to be doing. Hitting them with one big attack, giving them these frostbite tokens, totally disrupting their turn. I think this card's awesome. This is fresh to death in my opinion. It says auto occlude in your Oldheim deck. I'm excited to play with this one. This one seems awesome. Like 8 is a lot, as we know, and you want to have the ice cards in there to fuse, but I think that's what you should be trying to do with him. So yeah, fresh to death. Next we have Entangle. This is some an Earth fusion one. This is a common. 7 attack, 3 defense, and then 6 and 5 for the yellow and blue. Cost 3, has Earth fusion. If Entangle is fused, it gains. If this hits a hero, their first attack during their next turn has -2 attack. That's something to think about. I mean, I think that's a strong effect. And this seems kind of what the Earth side of Oldheim wants to do. A little more defensive from just a pure damage aspect. I think this card's fine. I think you would play it in limited, fresh for limited for the Oldheim Earth side. You need the Earth cards though, and then probably I think pretty stale and constructed. But I wouldn't fault you for playing if you needed to. If you were like trying some stuff out with the Earth stuff, but I think you're gonna have better options. Next we got Glacial Footsteps. Well, look at this. This is the art on this is awesome. I mean, all the art in this set has been pretty stellar. Glacial Foot is a common elemental guardian attack action. It has 10 attack, 3 defense, and then 9 and 8 for yellow and blue. Ice Fusion. It also costs 6. So this is pretty expensive. You're gonna need to pitch 2 blues to play this bad boy, unless you get the seismic surge tokens going. If Glacial Footsteps was fused, it gains Dominate. So attack with 10, 9, or 8, and they got to block with only 1 card. I mean, this hits hard. That's for sure. I think I like this in limited. It's fresh. I think the cost is a little prohibiting in constructed. I could see playing some blue ones because I think the deck's going to want some blues anyway. But I think that remains to be seen. But yeah, I like it fresh and limited. Next we got Mulch. So here's an Earth on the Earth side of things. So it's a Elemental Guardian attack action, 8 attack, 3 defense, and then 7 and 6 for the yellow and blue. It costs 4. So it's got to be par for the course for these kinds of cards. Has Earth Fusion. You have to reveal an Earth card. Or you may reveal an Earth card. If Mulch was fused, it gains. If this hits a hero, put a card from their arsenal on the bottom of their deck. Okay, I mean, it feels a little bit of Command and Conquer-ish. I mean, the cost is double, and you're going to have to fuse it. So it's asking a lot, but we know how strong that effect is. It remains to be seen if this is going to be good enough. But if in limited, if you're playing Earth cards, I think this is an auto include. I mean, that is devastating. And then you're gonna have ways to give it Dominate or some other modifiers to its attack. Pretty dope. So yeah, I think fresh and limited, and then we'll see on constructed. I think it might be. I mean, the Earth version of the deck might be able to get there. It's just hard. That cost is a little prohibiting. I mean, you'd rather just play the Command and Conquers, but it might be a fine budget option. We'll see. Next, we have Oaken Old. This is a majestic. It is an elemental guardian attack action. 7 attack, 3 defense. And notice all the like I think all these cards have had 3 defense, which is good. I mean, we like to see that. Excuse me. It pitches for red, so it's a red pitch. Costs 3. Not too bad. It's got Earth and Ice Fusion. As an additional cost to play Oaken Old, you may reveal an Earth and an Ice card from your hand, so that's asking a lot. If Oaken Old was fused, it gains +2 attack, Dominate, and if this hits a hero, they put 2 random cards from their hand on bottom of their deck in any order. I mean, if you can get the right balance of Earth and Ice in your deck, this card seems pretty great. Pretty great. And I think there's actually some Earth Ice combination cards, right? I think they have both. So maybe if you can play those, I mean, I think that should count, right? That makes sense. So I'm gonna give this a fresh, with the caveat of making sure you get the right amount, like a pretty equal. Like if you're playing this card and you're gonna rely on this card, you want a pretty equal amount of Ice and Earth, because just 7 attack for 3 is not really cutting it. So I still like the card. Snow Under is a common elemental guardian attack action. 7 attack, 3 defense, and then the yellow and blue have 6 and 5. Has Ice Fusion, costs 3. If Snow Under was fused, it gains, if this hits a hero, create a frostbite token under their control. Yeah, I like this card. Unlimited. I mean, you gotta have the ice cards, and I mean, we'll see how much of the constructed version of his deck is gonna need these types of cards. But I think these frostbite tokens are really strong. I don't know if the deck will have room for something like Snow Under, but still strong. Next we have Strength of Sequoia. This is a Elemental Guardian attack or Elemental Guardian action aura, which costs 2, has Earth Fusion, and it defends for 3. Earth Fusion, go again. When it enters the arena, if it was fused, create a Seismic Surge token. So obviously the Earth side of things is going to do these Seismic Surges. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Strength of Sequoia. Then the next attack action card you play this turn gains +3. And then +2 and +1, yellow and blue. So this is like the card that we saw a little bit earlier, the common version of the ice. It's pretty much going to get the same grade. I think you got to be playing Earth cards. I don't think it's good enough to make it into constructed, but in an Earth limited deck, I think this is quite good. So yeah. So fresh for limited, probably stale for constructed. Turn Timber. This is a Elemental Guardian defense reaction. It's got 6 defense and then 5 and 4 for the yellow and blue. This is a rare. Cost 2. Earth Fusion. If Turn Timber was fused, it gains +2 defense. Pretty strong. I mean, 8 defense or 8, 7, and 6 defense respectively if you fuse. Seems strong to me. Yeah, I think this is what the Earth deck wants to be doing, and I think if the Earth Oldhim deck is a thing, I think you're gonna want these cards. This is such a good defense reaction, even without fusing it, right? 6, like if you're playing, I mean 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty good. So, yeah, I would say it's fresh, pretty fresh, honestly. So that's gonna do it for Oldhim. I mean, we'll see some ice and earth cards that are just non-guardian stuff, which obviously we'll have to keep in mind for Oldhim later. But we're gonna go to the next hero. We have Lexi Livewire, the Elemental Ranger, the first hero that was spoiled. When Tales of Aria was starting to get spoiled. So this is a Elemental Ranger hero, has Essence of Ice and Lightning. So this is an Ice Lightning hero, as opposed to Oldhim, who's Ice and Earth. So you're going to be able to get some Lightning cards in this one. Once per turn action, turn a face-down card in your arsenal face up. If it is a Lightning card, your next attack this turn gains Go Again. If it is an Ice card, create a Frostbite token under target hero's control. Go Again. Seems pretty good. So for the Rangers, if you're not familiar, usually they have arrow attacks. You got to play them from your arsenal, almost like a quiver, and you have to have a bow as your weapon. And we'll see the bow soon. This is a powerful effect. So it's standard 4 intellect, 40 health, and for the young one, 4 intellect, 20 health. We'll see how the support goes for this. Ranger's tough. I think it's the restriction of Ranger's so tough to really make it such a competitive deck. I think it can be done like Azalea. There have been some good Azalea decks, but we'll see if Lexi is the hero that pushes Ranger to the next level. And here are some equipment. Here's the legendary head, Ranger equipment head, New Horizon. So this one people are pretty excited about. When you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone, which is huge. When New Horizon is destroyed, destroy all cards in your arsenal. and it has Blade Break, but it defends for 2. So 2 cards in your arsenal zone sets up for some big turns with your arrows. So I think this is going to see play in Lexi, and I honestly can't imagine it not seeing play in Azalea as well, because it's just straight Ranger. Fresh to death on New Horizon. I think this is going to be a chase legendary, so long as Ranger is viable. And next we have a common head equipment, Honing Hood. Nice little alliteration. 0 defense, but it has an instant. Destroy Honing Hood. Return all cards in your arsenal to your hand. Then put a card from your hand face down in your arsenal. I think it's I wonder how that works with Command and Conquer. No, I think, well, if you have 2 out, Command and Conquer is going to hit. You might want to save your arsenal zone. You can pop the Honing Hood, return your cards, put 1 down, so you only lose 1 card. Still doesn't seem that great. I think we'll see. It doesn't seems pretty stale to me, honestly. But if you know, obviously, if you need a head equipment, I'm sure you can find a use for it in Lexi. And I could be totally missing something there. I'm not terribly familiar with how Ranger plays out. Next we have Shiver, the common bow. Elemental Ranger weapon, 2-handed. Once per turn, instant. 1 resource. You may put an arrow from your card or an arrow card from your hand face up in an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose 1. It gains +1 until end of turn. It gains dominate until end of turn. Seems pretty sweet, honestly. This is a pretty fresh card. If I do say so myself, I think this card it's a fine common option for the Ranger the Lexi Ranger deck, because it is elemental. You won't be able to play this in Azalea. Seems like a pretty solid way to stack up your arsenal and get your New Horizons going, and it give the arrow a pretty solid effect. So fresh for Shiver. And now we have the Majestic Bow. Voltaire, strike twice. Twice per turn instant. Okay, all right. 1 resource. You may put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose 1. It gains +1 until end of turn, or it gains go again until end of turn. Now this is what you want to be doing with your New Horizons. You can start loading up your bow. Basically, you're loading up your bow for relatively cheap cost, and allowing you to go off. It gains go again thing. It's going to be huge. It's going to have. I feel like it might even have a little bit of a like almost Kadachi vibes. I mean, I could be wrong, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, Voltaire strike twice in this deck feels like a fresh to death. If I've ever seen one. And next, we're getting to some of the arrows. Let's see what's going on here. Blizzard Bolt. This is an arrow attack. Elemental Ranger. 5 attack, 3 defense. Cost 1. And then the yellow and blue are going to be 4 attack, 3 attack. Has Ice Fusion. You may reveal an ice card. If Blizzard Bolt was fused, whenever attack deals damage to a hero this turn, create a Frostbite token under the control. So that is for any attack this turn. Starts with the Blizzard Bolt. Blizzard Bolt's coming in for 5, maybe more. As we saw with Voltaire and Shiver. It's going to create these Frostbite tokens. So it's cool that the Ranger deck is also going to be able to play this taxing game with the Frostbite tokens. I would say this card's pretty fresh. Always with the caveat that you got to play decent amount of ice cards to reliably get that fuse. I don't think on its own it's going to be good enough. though. One resource for 5 damage is still decent. Next, we're gonna have Bolton Shot. So this is a straight up ranger action, so it could be played in Azalea. It's arrow. It's got 4. It costs 0. First of all, it has 4 attack, 3 defense. Yellow and blue have 3 and 2 attack, respectively. While Bolton Shot's attack is greater than its base, it has go again. And if this hits, reload. And reload reads, if you have no cards in your arsenal, you may put a card from your hand face down into your arsenal. Pretty sweet way to chain off on your ranger turns. Seems pretty sweet, right? You got to have a way to pump it, right? But when it hits, you get to reload. You can, and this is always the thing that makes me like really wary of the ranger class. It's so hard because you have to get these cards into the arsenal. But this gives it a pretty good way to do so, and I would give this a fresh, for sure. Now we're gonna get a little bit of the lightning cards. What are they? What, like, you know, what we can expect from them. So this is Buzzbolt. It is a 1-costed arrow attack, 5 attack, 3 defense, 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. It's lightning fusion. If it was fused, whenever attack hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. So, interesting about this. So it has this like shock value to it. Like your attacks like are electrified. You hit them and it gets a little extra damage in. Which it seems good, right? It's like a extra damage that can't block. Also, as far as I can tell, it's going to trigger on hit abilities an additional time. So let's say you have an attack, like your next attack, right? Because it says this turn, right? Let's say you play Buzzbolt and then you play something else. It says maybe when it hits, create a Frostbite token. And it hits, it's going to deal extra damage. It's going to create 2 Frostbite tokens. Pretty powerful stuff going on. Buzzbolt, fresh and limited, with the right amount of lightning cards. It's probably good if you're playing like a lightning Lexi deck. Constructed. So fresh, there too. Nothing too crazy though. Now this is a badass art right here. Chilling Ice Vein. This is a elemental ranger action arrow attack. Cost 1. It's got 5 attack, 3 defense, 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. It's ice fusion. If Chilling Ice Vein was fused, whenever attack deals damage to a hero this turn, they discard a card unless they pay 1. So this is, as you can tell, I'm loving these discard effects. I think they are sweet, and I think this one's pretty good. I think this ice, you got to play your ice cards because this won't be good enough, not fused. But if you're going off on a turn, hit with this first, and every attack that's hitting after it is going to create that ability. Or even if you got the lightning things going on from if you're playing Buzzbolt and this card somehow, I mean, you can do it. They're going to have maybe pitch a blue to save a card, and then maybe they have to use the rest of those resources, but still they had to pitch a blue. This card seems sweet, fresh in an ice deck. You gotta have the right amount of ice, but it seems like pretty strong. But it's gotta be fused. It's not fused is just not good enough. Next we got a rare called Cold Wave. This is a arrow attack. It's a 1-costed, 5 attack, 3 defense, 4 and 3 for the yellow and blue. Ice Fusion. If Cold Wave was fused, cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional 1 resource this turn. So, pretty good against defense reactions. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, when you played Do you have to pay 1 if you defend with a card? I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. But either way, I mean, this seems like an awesome card. You know, like even against Oldheim, his on hero activated ability is going to cost 4. So I think this card is going to be pretty sweet in the ice version of Lexi. I'll give it a fresh for that deck. Next we have Dazzling Crescendo. This is a common. A 0-costed, 4 attack, 3 defense, arrow attack, elemental. 3 and 2 for yellow and blue. Has lightning fusion. If it was fused, gains go again. 0 attack. I mean, hey, pretty good. Pretty good. We like go again. This is a way to set up those big turns when you have those on hit effect fusion cards from what we saw before. This is a good card to supplement to that. I don't know if it's gonna be good enough in constructed. It might make it. I mean, if you're playing the lightning version, this is a 0-costed arrow, so you know, pop it into your arsenal and go off. So yeah, I'll give it a fresh for limited for sure, and then we'll see on constructed. Next we got Flake Out. I feel like my friends do a lot. So Flake Out is a common. So 1-costed, 5 attack, 3 defense, 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. Arrow attack, elemental ranger. Ice fusion. If it was fused, it gains dominate. Pretty solid in the ice deck for limited. I don't know if it's good enough for constructed, but you know what? I mean, it's a fine attack. I mean, you probably want to be only playing the red version of it, maybe the yellow, but we'll see. I'll give it fresh for limited, and maybe unconstructed. Frazzle. Okay, this is a common arrow attack, elemental ranger. Cost 1, 5 attack, 3 defense. 4 and 3 attack, respectively, for the yellow and blue. Lightning fusion. If it was fused, whenever attack would deal damage this turn, instead it deals that much damage plus 1. Yeah, another one of these cards. I think this is another good one. I mean, in the lightning deck, I think you're gonna want to you want to have the right amount of lightning cards, and you also want to have the right amount of hit effects in your deck to really maximize that ability. So I would give it build around fresh for sure. And now we got our I think our first elemental ranger, Majestic. Frostlock. Pitches for blue. Cost 1, 3 attack, 3 defense. Ice fusion. There's an arrow attack. Cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional 1 resource this turn. Good. If Frostlock was fused, it gains +1 attack, and if it hits a hero until end of their next turn, they can't pitch or play cards with base cost 0. So that shuts down Seeds of Agony. Right? They pitch or play cards with base cost 0. I don't know. It seems pretty good against Seeds of Agony, guys. That seems like a real good card to be playing against our buddy old Chain, and good against Katsu as well. So that being said, I'm going to give it a fresh to death, even though I played Chain. But Frostlock is awesome, and that art is so sweet. And then we got the next Majestic, Ice Storm. This is an elemental ranger action. Ice and lightning fusion as additional cost to play play Ice Storm. You may reveal an ice and lightning card from your hand. Has 2 defense. Your next arrow attack this turn gains +3. This is going to turn on some of those cards. If Ice Storm was fused, your next arrow attack this turn gains. If this hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them, And whenever this attack deals damage to a hero, create that many frostbite tokens under control. Go again. Seems really good to me. However, you gotta make sure you get that thing fused because it's a fine card. It's a zero costed pump spell basically. But if you can fuse it, you just get so much value, and you're gonna set your opponent back so much. So keep that in mind. That's like I think that you want to play this in the straight up ice and lightning deck, like 50-50, 60-40 split. So yeah, keep that in mind. But fresh to death, build around. Here's light it up. Here's Lexi's specialization card. It is a yellow. Cost 1, 4 attack, 3 defense is an arrow attack. Lightning fusion. If light it up was fused, it gains. If this hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control, which is usually around 4. And if it's technically those or is a I guess technically a weapon is a weapon a equipment or am I just thinking of the no weapons aren't equipment, but the shields are equipment. So it could be up to 5. If lighted up deals damage to a hero equal to or greater than the number of equipment they control lose and can't gain activated abilities until the end of their next turn. Seems pretty sweet. This is a pretty good card. I think you're gonna play this in your Lexi deck, obviously. And I think it's gonna get a fresh to death. I think it's a really powerful effect, and I think you're gonna want to reliably be able to fuse it. Next we got Overflex. the Ranger action costs 1. It's a common. Your next arrow attack this turn gains +4 attack. Reload. If you have no cards in your arsenal, you may put a card from your hand face down into your arsenal. Go again. Has two defense. Pretty useful way to pump up your arrows. I like it in limited. I don't really like it in constructed. So fresh limited, probably you'll get good use out of it, but I think limited is pretty stale. Next we got Seek and Destroy. Oh boy, sounds a lot like Command and Conquer to me. So this is a Ranger action, so you can play it in any Ranger deck. Has 2 defense, cost 0. Your next arrow attack this turn gains +3, and if this hits a hero at the beginning of their next end phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. Beginning of their next end phase. Go again. Okay. So when the end phase starts after you've arsenaled, but before you've drawn back up. So if you have any cards left over that maybe you wanted, so it doesn't even matter. So they can't even arsenal next turn. Interesting. It's really good in the mirror. Yeah, I think this card, it's gonna be like a sideboard card. I think. I don't think you want this like at least for constructed. I think you're gonna be happy to pick it in limited. Has a strong enough effect for your Lexi deck, but I think it's a pretty solid sideboard card for constructed, depending on the meta. But yeah, I'll give it a fresh to death based on how things pan out in constructed. Next we got a rare called Snapshot. And this is an arrow attack. It costs 0. I like that. 4 attack, 3 defense, 3 and 2 respectively for yellow and blue. Lightning fusion. If Snapshot was fused, You may activate abilities of bows you control an additional time this turn as though they were an instant. I think this is a card you're going to play in your Lexi deck. I think it's a no-brainer. So in that regard, I guess it's close to a fresh to death because it's just good enough for those bow attacks. So I think you're gonna want to play this close to a fresh to death, mostly fresh. Yeah, and that's gonna move us to Briar here. But I'm gonna take one quick break, and you're not even gonna know. All right, I'm back. And now we're moving on over to Briar. As I said before, had to take a little detour. But here we go. So Briar is, I would say a little bit controversial. A lot of people felt that we didn't need a new Runeblade hero, but here we are. We got one. We don't have a choice. But I do think she's really cool. So Briar, Warden of Thorns, is your typical 4 intellect, 40 life, 20 life for the Blitz young version. She has Essence of Earth and Lightning, so she's our Earth and Lightning combo hero. And she reads, whenever an attack action card you control deals damage to an opposing hero, create an Embodiment of Earth token. Now I'm going to scroll down to that. Embodiment of Earth token says non-attack action cards you control have +1 defense while defending. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Embodiment of Earth. So that continues with the theme in Earth of being on the little more defensive side. So it's interesting. The attack cards are giving the non-attack cards a buff. And then you're going to see a little bit different on the other side of her. She has, whenever you play your second non-attack action card each turn, create an Embodiment of Lightning token. And as you can see, an Embodiment of Lightning token is when you play an attack action card, destroy Embodiment of Lightning, and the attack gains go again. So that is a lot like a Quicken token, I believe. And yeah, obviously really strong effects. So it's interesting here how it's going to play out with her. It'll be interesting. I think Chain and maybe even Viscerai might still be the top Runeblade decks, but I think Briar might. I mean, these are not weak effects by any means. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out. Because you got to find the right balance of attack and non-attack in the deck to really, I think, reach her full potential. But let's get to her weapons. So here's the Majestic Runeblade weapon. So, it could be played in Viscerai or Chain as well. It's called Duskblade. It has 2 attack. It has a once per turn action, 1 resource attack. Whenever you attack with Duskblade, if you played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, put a +1 attack counter on Duskblade. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, remove all +1 counters from Duskblade. So this seems like, obviously there's Dawnblade and Duskblade. They're very, very similar in kind of putting those counters on. Duskblade is good. I don't know if it fits into any of the Runeblade decks right now. I don't, definitely not Viscerai. I could see it maybe doing well in Chain, because you tend to actually set that off quite a bit. I'm gonna give it a fresh, and we'll see where it goes. I don't know if it will find a home, because I think Nebula Blade tends to be a little bit better. Next we have Rosetta Thorn. This one is also pretty interesting. So this is the common Runeblade weapon. 2 attack, has once per turn action, 1 resource, attack. Whenever you attack with Rosetta Thorn, if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. All right, that definitely piques my interest. I think this one's pretty fresh as well. I think honestly, the 2 arcane damage is nothing to sneeze at. They'll so in a battle against, I think, the Duskblade, I think Rosetta Thorn might be just a little bit better in the same deck, because for the same, you're getting the guaranteed 2 damage, the arcane damage, and if they don't have any kind of defense to that, it can be pretty backbreaking. So I think Rosetta Thorn might be fresh to death. Honestly, I think this card is very good, and it is also just a Runeblade weapon. So that might just be good in Viscerai, and maybe more chain, but we'll see. Next we have the legendary armor, the equipment, the legs. Spellbound Creepers has 1 defense. It has once per turn instant. You pay 1 resource, put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it was an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Spellbound Creepers unless you have dealt arcane damage this turn equal to or greater than the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creepers. So, and it's got Blade Break. So I do like this card. It continues with the theme of doing an attack and a non-attack in 1 turn, which I like that theme in a lot of decks, and I think especially Chain is trying to do that. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna make sense in Chain. I think you almost want the scalers a little bit more. I could see this in some kind of mid-range Viscerai, to be honest, because you are dealing a lot of arcane damage, and the instant part is pretty cool. So I'll watch it. I would call it fresh. I think it's still pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. Here's Suckless Suede Hides, which is a Runeblade equipment, legs. This is the common. 0 defense. Excuse me. Attack reaction. Pay 1. Destroy Suckless Suede Hides. Target attack action card gains go again. Activate this ability only if you have played a non-attack action card this turn. Now that's something that could actually go into Chain, but it might not matter because you're not really playing. Because the scalers are good because it hits it's free and it hits almost all the cards. But something like this could hit like could target like a Command and Conquer for instance. So I don't think it's going to overtake the scalers, but I still think it's fresh. I think it's probably good and limited for sure. So something to look at. Next we have Arcanic Shockwave. Let's see if I can. There we go. Arcanic Shockwave is a elemental Runeblade action, attack action. It costs 0 for 4 attack, 3 defense. It's got Lightning Fusion. When you attack with Arcanic Shockwave, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. I mean, we all know how strong arcane damage is, and for if you can reliably get it fused, I think this is a pretty good card. I'm going to call it fresh, with the caveat again. You gotta have lightning cards in your deck, and you gotta make sure that it is fused most of the time. I mean, at worst, it's a 0 costed 4 attack, and yeah, I mean, so and the red has 4, yellow has 3, blue has 2 attack. Just I forgot to mention, but Yeah, I'll give this card a fresh card. It's a fresh card. Next we got Blossoming Spellblade. This is a majestic. It is a 2-costed elemental runeblade attack action, 6 damage, or 6 attack, 3 defense. Like those stats, it has Earth and Lightning fusion. If Blossoming Spellblade was fused, it gains whenever this deals damage to an opposing hero. You may banish a non-attack action card from your graveyard. If you do, you may play it this turn. Yeah, this turn as though it were an instant, and if it would be put into your graveyard instead, banish it. I wish you could play that on chain. That seems pretty good, but when you attack with Blossoming Spellblade, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to the target hero. This seems pretty awesome, and you got to fuse it to really, make this worth it. So, and it's asking a lot, Earth and Lightning. So, you got to be playing both. In limited, this is a Windmill Slam, I think, still, and it's a fresh to death. It will, in the right deck, it could be fresh to death and constructed. So yeah, like that card. Next, we have Bramble Spark. This is a 0-costed elemental runeblade action, 2 defense, Earth fusion. The next attack action card you play this turn gains when you attack with this card, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If Bramble Spark was fused, the next attack action card you play gains +3 attack. Go again. This is giving me some Seeds of Agony vibes here. Obviously, you can't go off with it like Seeds of Agony, but this is a pretty efficient non-attack action. And obviously, as we saw, this Briar wants a pretty even mix. Got to fuse it to really, to really get it going. But, I don't even know, obviously, you want to fuse this card. However, I don't think it's the end of the world in the Briar decks because you kind of want to have played a non-attack action as Go Again. Great. Now this into an attack, you get the arcane damage, and then you can trigger some of these cards that require both attack and non-attack being played in the same turn. So I'm going to give Bramble Spark a fresh. I think this card's really good. Next, we got Explosive Growth, which is a rare. It's a 1-costed Runeblade attack action, elemental Runeblade. It's got 3 attack, 3 defense, 2 and 1 for the yellow and blue, respectively. It has Earth Fusion. If Explosive Growth was fused, whenever it deals damage, attacks you control gain +1 this combat chain. When you attack with Explosive Growth, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So I guess that technically sets it off right away. As long as the arcane damage hits. So if you're planning a pretty big turn, you're coming in for 3. You deal the arcane damage, and then it's coming in for 4. We like 4. Yeah, I think this card is pretty good. You got to really make the most of that +1 on the combat chain. So you don't want to do anything. You want to keep the chain open. You don't want to do anything in between your attacks. I think it could be good. It's definitely fresh. But I'd be cautious about this card. But it's still really cool design. Next we got Flicker Wisp, Majestic. This is a 0-costed, pitches for yellow, non-attack action, elemental Runeblade, defense for 2. It's got Lightning Fusion. If Flicker Wisp was fused until end of turn, attack action or action card effects you control deal arcane damage. Instead, deal that much arcane damage +1. And then it also says deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Go again. Action. card effects. So if you are in on the arcane damage in this Briar deck, Flicker Wisp seems like it's kind of like, it almost feels like an OTK, one turn kill kind of enabler. If you got a bunch of cards dealing a lot of arcane damage, I mean, maybe not OTK. That might be a little bit jumping ahead, but it seems like some big turns. And I actually think this is Fresh to Death. I like this card a lot. I think this is a really cool card to brew around with, and I'm interested to see where it goes in this Briar deck. Next, we have Force of Nature with really cool art. Looks like Briar's riding like some elemental tree beast. It's her specialization. Some majestic. It pitches for blue, so it pitches for 3 resources. 0 costed, non-attack action, elemental runeblade, 3 defense. It's her specialization. It has Earth Fusion. Whenever an attack action card you control hits this turn, if its attack is greater than its base attack, draw a card. If Force of Nature was fused, your next attack this turn gains +1 attack. Go again. Yeah, this is awesome. This card's really good. I think if you fuse it, this is in the, I mean, obviously, so say this card being a Briar specialization tells you that Briar, I think, wants to be on the Earth side of things, right? With the Earth fusion. And this is really good when you fuse it with Earth. It's almost good. It's good on its own. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to casting it without being fused, and it defends well. And it pitches for blue. I think it's Fresh to Death. Great majestic. Be happy to open that and be happy to play with it. Next, we got Inspire Lightning. Elemental Runeblade, non-attack action. Defense for 2. Cost 1. It has Lightning Fusion. If Inspired Lightning was fused, deal 3 arcane damage to target hero. And then 2 damage and 1 damage, respectively, for the yellow and blue. So this one's interesting. It does nothing if you don't fuse it. So that being said, do we want a card? I mean, it helps trigger the non-attack action of a lot of these cards. I think 3 arcane damage is a lot in the red version. I think it's, oh man, that's gonna be tough. I'm off of it, I think. I don't like that you need to fuse it to have anything happen, right? I don't want. I mean, it technically wouldn't be a dead card in hand because you can always pitch it for resources, but I don't want. I mean, imagine you accidentally draw a hand filled with these things. I mean, you're screwed. Yeah, I'm off it. I'm gonna say it's stale. I'm not gonna say it's stanky. I don't think we even really had any much stanky cards, to be honest. It doesn't seem like they really. I mean, this is definitely stanky for constructed, I think, unless there's some kind of burn deck, a lightning burn deck, which would be really sweet because there's a lot of arcane damage. So we'll see. I'm gonna say stale for sure. Next we got Rites of Lightning. It's a rare. It's a 1-costed, 4 attack, 3 defense, and then 3 and 2 for the yellow and blue, respectively. Elemental Runeblade, attack action. Lightning Fusion. When you attack with Rites of Lightning, if it was fused, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. If you have dealt arcane damage this turn, Rites of Lightning gains go again. Nice card. Good in the lightning deck. I mean, you could see that you kind of want to burn out the opponent in this lightning version of Briar. I wonder if it will be good enough, but this seems like it would probably be a pretty decent piece of the puzzle. Anything would go again, like dealing fusing it, dealing the arcane damage, get some more stuff going. So I like Rites of Lightning. I'm gonna say it's fresh. All right, next is Rites of Replenishment. Which is a 2-costed elemental runeblade attack action with 6 attack, 3 defense, 5 and 4 for the yellow and blue. Earth Fusion. When you attack with Rites of Replenishment, if you have dealt arcane damage this turn, you may put a non-attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. When you attack with Rites of Replenishment, if it was fused, you may put an attack action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. I don't hate it. I think it's definitely fresh and limited, and I think it's a little stale and constructed. I don't think it's really what I want to be doing with Briar. Yeah, I'm off of it for constructed, but I like it in limited. With the gotta have enough Earth cards, but yeah. Next is Sigil of Suffering. Really cool art on this card. It's a rare. It is a straight up Runeblade defense reaction. Costs 0. And it says defense for 3, 2, and 1, respectively for the colors. Deal 1 arcane damage to the attacking hero. If you have dealt arcane damage this turn, Sigil of Suffering gains +1 defense. Pretty good. So as long as they don't prevent that arcane damage, it's a 0-costed Runeblade defense reaction. Defense for 4, 3, and 2. I don't hate it. It probably makes it more into the Viscerai decks, to be honest. We'll see. I like it. It's fresh there. I don't know about the other 2 Runeblade heroes, but and it's definitely fresh in limited. Next we got Singeing Steelblade. It's a 1-costed Runeblade action, a Runeblade attack action with 4 attack, 3 defense. When you attack with Singeing Steelblade, deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Efficient in limited. I would stick with the red and maybe the yellow because it's 4, 3, and 2. And I don't think it's nothing special for constructed. A little stale for constructed. But yeah, not good enough. Yeah. Next we got Sting of Sorcery. This is a Runeblade action aura. Cost 0. It's a majestic. Defense for 2. Pitches for blue. Go again. Attack action cards you gain. You control gain when you attack with this. Deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Sting of Sorcery. Pretty good. You set up a pretty big turn. I mean, this card could see play in Chain. I mean, there are turns with Chain that you are playing so many attack action cards, and that little incremental arcane damage is going to be pretty brutal. So I would say fresh to death for constructed. You could, I think fresh in limited because I don't know how many turns in limited you're gonna get more than 1 damage out of this, but we'll see. I think it's nice to Arsenal actually set up here an even bigger turn. Next we have Stir the Wildwood. This is a 2-costed Elemental Runeblade attack action with 5 attack, 3 defense, 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. Earth Fusion. If you have dealt arcane damage to an opposing hero this turn, Stir the Wildwood gains +2 attack. If Stir the Wildwood was fused, it gains +2 attack. So it can come in for 9 if fused and you dealt arcane damage. I'm a little confused. Seems like some of the Earth Fusion cards care about arcane damage, but some of the lightning cards. So these are the ones that are like, hey, we want you to be playing both sides of the coin. In limited, I think that's pretty good. Like if you're playing both sides, even not too resources for 7 attack is not too bad. So yeah, I think it's fine. It's fresh and limited. It's a little stale and constructed. Next we have Vela Flash. Vela Flash? Vela Flash. It's a 1-costed, common, elemental Runeblade attack action. 5 attack, 3 defense. Got Lightning Fusion. If it was fused, you may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. It's got 4 and 3 attack, yellow and blue. Not the worst. I think you're gonna play it in limited. I think it's a little stale in limited, and maybe it might be a little stanky in constructed. Maybe I'm just saying that because I want to give something stanky. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not really loving this card. It asks. It asks that. I guess it lets you throw out a non-attack action after. You gotta be able to pay for it. We'll see. All right, now we're on to the Earth cards, and I'm gonna start with the Amulet of Earth. There's an amulet for Earth, Ice, and Lightning. Amulet of Earth is a 0-costed Earth action item. 0-costed, pitches for blue. It says, go again, instant. Destroy Amulet of Earth. Attack action cards, you gain +1 attack and +1 defense this turn. Activate this ability only if you have Earth Fuse this turn. I think you just throw this in your Earth deck. Because it's something you can reveal to your Earth Fusions. And it's pretty strong attack, or pretty strong effect. So I'm going to give it fresh. It might perform like a fresh to death in limited. We'll see about constructed, but I think it's fresh overall. Next we have Autumn's Touch. This is just a straight up Earth action attack. 3 cost, 7 attack, 3 defense, 6 and 5 yellow and blue. So with these elemental, with these Earth, Ice, and Lightning cards, I think it's important to say I'm going to give them their face value, but there will be times that you will, even if they're not that great, you will be playing them because you need to fuse. That being said, I don't like the 3 cost for this for 7. That's it's asking a lot. I think you're off of it, and it's stanky and constructed. But it's probably stale most of the time and limited. You'll get it to fresh in the right Earth deck. Next is Break Ground, which is an Earth attack action. Cost 3, 7 attack, 2 defense. When you attack with Break Ground, you may put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Interesting. So it's got 7, 6, and 5 for red, yellow, blue. I kind of like that. I think it's going to be fresh and limited. I don't think it's going to be worth it in constructed. Probably pretty stale and constructed. However, I do like maybe you had a turn where you just were left with like a really, meh card in limited. So you arsenal it. You play this guy next turn. Hopefully you drew him. And you get to just draw the card, which is great. Get that stanky card out of there and get a hopefully a better card. So I think it's fresh and limited, and I just stay away from it in constructed. Stanky, I think. Just a little bit too much resources for something. I mean, the cards in your arsenal are usually going to be cards that you want there in limited or in constructed. Next we have Burgeoning, which is a Earth attack action. Cost 2. 6 attack, 2 defense, 5 and 4 for yellow and blue. If Burgeoning is played from arsenal, it gains +1. Yeah, I kind of like this. It's fresh and limited for sure because it's something. something good to arsenal, something you don't want to target with the last card. And probably just stanky and constructed. It means, unless you're really hurting for Earth cards, I wouldn't play it. Next we have Channel Mount Heroic. So this is a majestic Earth action aura. Cost 3. It's 3 defense. Pitches for red. Go again. Attack action cards you control have +3. Okay. Channel Earth. So this Channel Earth is an ability. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on Channeled Mount Heroic, then destroy it unless you put an Earth card from your pitch zone on the bottom of your deck for each flow counter on it. Interesting. So this is a card that's really asking you to play a lot of Earth cards. And I do like it rewards you for pitching these Earth cards, because sometimes you're going to maybe play something, reveal an Earth card, and then for the next thing you pitch the Earth card. I mean, you're probably only going to have this stick around for 2-3 turns, but attack, +3 is a lot. And even that first turn is going to be pretty good. So, I think it's Fresh to Death. Throw it in, like, just straight up Earth. Yeah, pretty dope. Next we have Earth Equipment. Head. Crown of Seeds is legendary. I love this art. I want to crack this out of a pack. I want to see that foil. It has 0 defense, but once per turn instant. 1 resource. Put a face down card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Draw a card and prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn. Oh man, I like this card a lot. So it's a way to prevent some damage, filter a card from your hand, like, and just switch out the arsenal. That's fine. I like this card quite a bit. I think it's Fresh to Death. It's very hard to evaluate how fresh is going to be based on what decks are going to be good. You're going to play in Briar because it's not going to take over New Horizons with no. It would be an Oldheim. I could see playing Oldheim, which kind of seems like something he wants to do too. So I'm sticking with Fresh to Death, Crown Seeds, and I just love that art. Next we have Earth Lore Surge. This is a non-attack Earth action, 2 defense, cost 2. Next attack action card you play this turn gains +5, and then 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. Go again. Pretty strong. I think in limited with you. I mean, this is a pretty good utility card for a big turn. Something good to fuse with. Yeah, I like this card. The cost is a little scary. I think I'm off of it in constructed, a little stanky in constructed, but I can see this being fresh and limited. All right, Entwine Earth is an elemental action attack. This should have been up in I guess this is kind of like a generic in the set, but it's basically Earth. It's a 2-costed, 6 attack, 2 defense, attack action, and then 5 and 4 for the others. If it was fused though, it has Earth fusion. It gains +2. Good and limited. Stay away from it in constructed, I would say. Fresh and limited. It's nice, a big juicy attack that you can kind of get in if you're fusing. Evergreen is a rare. This is an Earth attack action. Cost 3. 7 attack, 2 defense, 6 and 5 for yellow and blue. If Evergreen is played from your arsenal, put it on the bottom of your deck when the combat chain closes. I think you'd be surprised at how good throwing something on the bottom of your deck is. I think this card is good. However, I think it's pretty stale and constructed. Three resources to get that going is a lot, but I think this is really good in limited. Pretty fresh. I wouldn't say fresh to death in limited, but it is up there. Next, we got Plume of Overgrowth. This is a common Earth equipment head. It has 0 defense, but has an instant. 3 resources. Destroy Plume of Evergrowth. Return target Earth action card or Earth instant card from your graveyard to your hand. I like this card. In limited, this is a perfectly fine equipment to pick up for your Earth deck. It's competing with a lot of good spots in constructed, but I think fresh in limited. It might be fresh to death, honestly, in limited, because equipment are tough to come by anyway. Next, we have So Tomorrow, or So Tomorrow. It is a 1-cost Earth non-attack action. It has 2 defense. Put target Earth or Elemental action card with cost 0 or greater from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Banish So of Tomorrow. If So Tomorrow is played from Arsenal, draw a card. Go again. Interesting. Oh, and I guess the yellow and blue is cost 1 or greater from your graveyard, cost 2 or greater. I was actually wondering, why is it 0 or greater? I think this card is fine. But you only want to play it from your arsenal. It's a little stale on it in limited, pretty stanky in constructed. So, yeah, that's where I fall on it. Next, we have Summerwood Shelter, which is an Earth instant, cost 0. Target defending Earth or Elemental action gains +4, and it's +3 and +2 for yellow and blue. It's a rare. Yeah, I mean, if you're in defense mode, this card's awesome. This is like, and it's not even a defense reaction, so you can play it in response to, some crazy attack reaction, and yeah, I think this card's pretty fresh, on both fronts. I think this could see a decent amount of play in some defensive Earth constructed decks, and I think it will play well in limited, especially with the lower life total. Next, we have a Majestic Tome of Harvest, with this Earth action, and it costs 3. It pitches for blue. It's 2 defense. As an additional cost to play Tome of Harvest, put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Draw 3 cards. Go again. Okay. I'm in for this card. Holy smokes. 3 cards? Oh, with just like getting rid of your art. I think this card's fresh to death. I think with the go again is just like so fresh. I think this card is awesome. Windmill Slam this bad boy. Put in your Earth deck. You can put it in the Lexi deck. You can put it in the Oldheim deck. You can put it in the Briar deck. And you're going to be pretty happy. So, oh yeah, I'm in for it. Next, we have Weave Earth. Almost sounds like Leave Earth. I don't know. I like it here. No, Weave Earth was a rare. It's a 0 cost Earth non-attack action. It has 2 defense. The next Earth or Elemental attack action card you play this turn gains +3. If it is fused, it gains +4. Go again. And then it's 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 for the yellow and blue. Yeah, this card's good. If you're all in on Earth fusing, I think this card's pretty great. And yeah, I would say it's fresh. I think it's gonna be fresh in both formats. And that's gonna bring us to Ice. I love Ice. I think Ice is one of my favorite parts of this set. We got the Amulet, Amulet of Ice, which is a pitch blue, cost 0. It's an ice attack, ice action item. Just go again, and then it has instant. Destroy Amulet of Ice. Target hero discards a card unless they pay 2 resources. Activate this ability if you have Ice Fuse this turn. This is a great card in the Ice deck, I think. I mean, I love the hand disruption. It is going to be good, trust me. It's probably going to be annoying. So I think this card is awesome. I would say fresh to death on this. Put it in your Ice deck. Have a blast. Make some people mad. Go for it. And next we got Blizzard. Some more Ice stuff. I'm gonna just love this section here. Blizzard is an Ice instant. Pitches for blue. Costs 0. Target attack loses and can't gain go again unless the attacking hero pays 2. Woo! I like this card too. I mean, it's like shut down their turn, man. It's at instant speed. This is a fresh to death card. I like this so much. I might overrate all these cards, if you can't tell, but I think this is awesome. This is a really cool card. It's majestic. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun playing. It's like I'm just so happy. There's like some like this icy tax control deck that's really coming here to Flesh and Blood. I'm really happy. So fresh to death. Next we have Channel Lake Frigid. So this is the majestic aura for ice. It costs 2. It defends for 3, and it pitches for blue. It says go again. Cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional 1. Love it. This is what the chain deck should be afraid of. And any aggro deck is going to be afraid of this card. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on Channel Lake Frigid, then destroy it unless you put an ice card from your pitch zone on the bottom of your deck for each flow counter on it. So I'm all in on ice. And I think this is going to be fresh to death in that deck. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm probably a little bit crazy. But I think this card's awesome. I don't think I'm overrating this one. This one is so good. It might not be the best. It might end up being boarded out against some matchups. But I do like it quite a bit. So fresh to death. Next we have Chill to the Bone. It's not, I mean, I'm gonna like this one too. It's an ice action, non-attack action. It costs 0. It defends for 2. The next time an ice or elemental attack hits a hero this turn, create 3 frostbite tokens under their control. Go again, and then the yellow and blue create 2 and 1 frostbite. Yeah, I like this a lot. 0 cost to set up and it has go again. And zero cost to set up a really punishing attack to your opponent is exactly what I like to see. I'm gonna give it fresh. I'm not gonna go fresh to death on this one, but I expect to see this card played quite a bit, at least by me. I'm like over here like writing. I should be writing notes on all these cards because I'm like, oh, maybe I should just put that in there because I'm building this Olheim deck in my head right now. Next we have Coat of Frost, Ice Equipment Chest. This is a common. It has defense for 0, but has an action. Destroy Coat of Frost. Create a Frostbite token under target hero's control. Go again. Fresh in limited. Not gonna make it in constructed. But I mean, it's beautiful art. I like that. I like the actual Coat of Frost. It looks pretty sweet. It would be cool to get a foil of that. Next we have Entwine Ice, which is an elemental attack action. And it costs 1, and it hits for 5, defense for 2, and then the yellow and blue hit for 4 and 3. Ice Fusion. If Entwine Ice was fused, it gains Dominate. A solid little ice payoff in the limited decks. Probably not good enough in constructed. It could make it there. I would it's like slightly stale would be where I'd put it for constructed, but fresh in limited, I think actually, dominates nothing to laugh at. So, yeah. And ooh, Frostfang. This one's cool. First of all, the art is amazing. If you haven't seen it, it is a two costed ice attack action. It hits for 5 and defense for 2, and then 4 and 3 for the yellow and blue. This is a rare. If Frostfang hits a hero, they discard a card unless they pay 2 resources. Hey, I mean, block. This like forces a block no other. Because so especially the red one, right? Red and yellow, right? They're coming in for 5 and 4. So usually you're going to need 2 cards to block it. So at that point you're just like, well, I guess I should just take it because I only lose 1 card out of hand. But but that puts them in the position where like, well, I don't want to take 4 or 5 damage. So really good card. I would say really fresh on constructed and limited. And this is a card I really want to see the foil of. Heart of Ice. It's an ice equipment chest. Has 1 defense. Excuse me. Once per turn action. Pay 1 resource. Cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional 1 resource this turn. Go again. Arcane Barrier 1. Very good. And it's got Blade Break, so if you defend with it, it's gone. This card's fresh to death. Just that activated ability alone is just like backbreaking. Their cards are going to cost extra this turn. Like it's going to make them harder to defend, and activate any kind of abilities. So, yeah, fresh to death. This is like auto include in your ice deck, I think. And I'm excited to play with it. Next, we got another rare, which is Ice Quake. It makes me think of ice cream cake, which is one of my favorites. So this is a 1-costed ice non-attack action. It defense for 2. It reads your next attack action turn. Your next attack this turn. It's not even card. This turn gains +3 attack. Whenever an attack hits a hero this turn, create a frostbite token under their control. Go again. And then the yellow and blue are +2, +1. I think this card's great. It works on your attack action cards, and it works on your weapons. And I think it's going to be pretty punishing on some of your big turns after you've defended a little bit and now you're ready to really go off. So I think fresh, very, very fresh. I'm not saying fresh to death. It's not like this isn't going to like absolutely destroy your opponent, but it is really good. It's a good piece of the puzzle, as they would say. Next we have Icy Encounter. 2 costed, 6 attack, 2 defense. If Icy Encounter hits a hero, create a frostbite token under their control. And then the yellow is 5 and the blue is 4. Yeah, I like this. I don't think it's gonna be good enough for the constructed version of the deck, but I think it's pretty good in limited. I think you're gonna want to play this in limited big time. And yeah, I think that card's good. It's on the stale side for constructed, but obviously I'm a fan of these frostbite tokens, but it's just it might not be enough on its face. So next we have Polar Blast. This is a non-attack ice action. Cost 1, defense for 2. Target opposing hero may pay 3 resources. If they don't, your next attack this turn gains Dominate. If Polar Blast is played from Arsenal, draw a card. Go again. And then the yellow asks them to pay 2, and then the blue asks them to pay 1. I like this card. Ask them to get a card out of their hand, which is always good. I mean, the best if you're playing this from your arsenal, it's going to play pretty fresh. Even in constructed, I think. But you gotta. I think to get the full. I mean, obviously to get the full value, you want to do that. But like, I don't know if not from your arsenal is going to be good enough. But I think it will be good enough in limited. So next we have Weave Ice. 0 costed, non-attack ice action at rare. Defends for 2. The next ice or elemental attack action card you play this turn gains +3. If it is fused, it gains Dominate. Go again. And then it's +3, +2, +1. Yeah, I mean, if you're fusing stuff, man, I think this card's going to be pretty good. 0 cost, go again. Sets up some really nice turns. I mean, like, you just need 1 dominated attack sometimes a turn, and this is a great way to get that going. I'm going to give it a fresh across the board. Ooh, I love this card. Winter's Bite. 0 cost for a non-attack ice action with 2 defense. Target hero discards a card unless they pay 3, 2, or 1 for red, yellow, blue. Oh man, this card's awesome, man. I like. I mean, if it's not obvious already, I like hand disruption. I'm not gonna like it when it's played against me. I'm gonna give this card. I think this card is like the sleeper of the set. For some reason, and I love the art. The guy's getting bit by this like frost wolf. Oh, so cool. I love this card. I'd want that on a play mat. I'm giving it fresh to death. And whatever, you know, hit me on Twitter if you wanna just argue with me about it. I'm down. I'll have that argument. I don't care. But seriously, I love this card. It's gonna be a lot of fun to play with, and not fun to play against. But that's just how the cookies crumble, I guess. But next we have Winter's Grasp. This is just a straight up 2 costed ice attack action, which has 6 attack, 3 defense, 5 and 3, and 4 and 3 for the yellow and blue. No effects. Yeah, I mean, you're going to play this card if you need ice cards in your limited deck, and you're going to be happy with it. Other than that, it's nothing that exciting. So there are better cards to play. That brings us to Lightning, which brings us to the Amulet of Lightning. Such a cool looking card here. So like the other amulets, it costs 0 and it pitches for blue. It has Go Again. It's a lightning action item. It has instant. Destroy Amulet of Lightning. Target action card gains Go Again. Activate this ability only if you have Lightning fused this turn. Yeah, just like the other amulets. If you're fusing, you're using this card in your deck. This is stupid. But yeah, no. Yeah, actually, I should coin that. If you're fusing, you're using. Yeah, I think this is going to play pretty fresh in your Lightning decks. Next, we got Ball Lightning. 0 costed Lightning attack action with 3 attack, 0 defense. Don't love that. And it's got 2 attack and 1 attack for the yellow and blue. Whenever a lightning, so it's a lightning attack action. Whenever a lightning or elemental action card would deal damage this combat chain, instead it deals that much damage +1. Go again. Okay, I see what you want to do with this. Is a straight up aggro card. Obviously, you want to play this into a bunch more lightning cards. And it is, I mean, so this is going to come in for 1, or for 4. It's going to be 3 +1. And yeah, I think this is in the aggro deck. I think it's actually going to be pretty fresh, honestly. It seems like super aggressive. So just watch out for those frostbite tokens. Next we got Blink. Zero costed lightning instant. Pitches for blue. Gain 1 action point. Oh man, this is what you want to do in the lightning deck. You want to make sure you can get the most out of your turn. I think this is pretty awesome. I think it's going to probably play pretty fresh to death. I think. I mean, you're gonna. Yeah, I mean, oh man, out of your arsenal or something like that, or if you have some in your arsenal, oh man, you can just have such a big turn. I think this is going to play really well, and I think people are going to really. I mean, that aggro deck is really shaping up to be something. Next we have Channel Thunderstep. This is the majestic lightning aura. It costs 1. It pitches for yellow. Has go again. Whenever you play an action card, you may pay 1 resource. If you do, it gains go again. Very nice. At the beginning of your end step, put a flow counter on Channel Thunderstep, then destroy it unless you put a lightning card from your pitch zone on the bottom of your deck for each flow counter on it. Also defends for 3. Yeah, this is pretty sweet. It's a nice big setup card. I'm not. So you play it. So the turn you play it, you've paid for it for 1 resource, and then you gotta, and then it has to go again. So you can play another card, and then you gotta pitch to play that. Maybe, unless you pitch the blue initially. You might be able to get the 1 go again out of it on the first turn, and hopefully you have a lightning card in your pitch zone, and you can get the next turn out of it as well. I think I'm on fresh for this card. It's pretty resource intensive to get the most out of it, but we'll see. I'm fresh. It's still fresh. Next we got Electrify. A 1 costed lightning non-attack action. It defends for 2. The next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, it deals 3 damage to them. If Electrify is played from Arsenal, draw a card. Go again. And then it deals 2 damage, 1 damage for yellow-blue. Oh, man. This card's brutal, man. Yeah, I mean, you want to... Limited, I mean, in both formats, if you're playing this, you want to be playing this out of the Arsenal. I think this card's pretty brutal. You're going to want this in the aggro deck. Man. That's good. I think that's pretty fresh, honestly. Next we got Entwined Lightning, which is a 0-costed elemental action attack with 4 attack and 2 defense. Cost 0, and then the yellow and blue have 3 attack and 2 attack. It has Lightning Fusion. If it was fused, go again. Pretty good. Pretty good go again card. I mean, the red's obviously going to be where you're going to want the to go. This is a good card, I think, in the aggro deck, actually. Which I'm going to give it fresh. Next we got Flash as a rare. It's a 0-costed lightning non-attack action. The next action card you play this turn with cost 0 or greater, or 1 or greater, or 2 or greater for the yellow and blue, gains go again. Nice. Yeah. I mean, I guess this is like a pretty good enabler. Good in Briar, because Briar seems to want you to. A lot of the cards that Briar uses wants you to play both non-attack and attack actions. It will probably play fresh in Briar. It's a good setup card. Yeah, I like it at fresh. Not too exciting, but I think it will play well. Next we got Heaven's Claws. Knock, knock, knocking on Heaven's Claws. It's a 1-costed 5 attack, 3 defense, lightning attack action, no effect, and then the 4 attack and 3 attack for yellow and blue. Whatever, you'll play it in limited, but I don't think it's Gonna make it anywhere in constructed. Pretty stanky there. Really a little stale and limited too. You don't want to. There's a lot better cards to be playing, and I think, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Next we have Lightning Press. Pretty cool card. Looks like some kind of lightning spear hitting a shield. It's a rare. It's a 0-costed lightning instant. Target attack action card with cost 1 or less gains +3 attack. Nice. And then the yellow gives +2, and the blue gives +1. I think, yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, on the ball lightning, pretty intense. Yeah, this is a great card to push through some damage. I like it's like instant and not even attack reaction. I think it's just it's pretty cool. I like where this like aggro deck's going. Yeah. Oh, so fresh. I almost forgot to say. Lightning Surge. If Lightning Surge, so this is 0-costed lightning action attack, which is 4 attack, 2 defense, and then 3, and then 2 for yellow and blue. If Lightning Surge is played from Arsenal, it gains go again. Yeah, this is a good card. I mean, it's a good card to Arsenal, obviously, in the aggro deck. I don't know if it'd make it constructed, but it's a fine card and limited. So fresh and limited, stale and constructed. Next we have Mark of Lightning, which is a lightning equipment arms. Whenever a lightning or elemental attack you control is defended by a card from hand, you may destroy Mark of Lightning. If you do, the attack deals 1 damage to the defending hero. 0 defense. I like it in limited. I mean, it's not going to do anything constructed because, yeah, it's not that powerful. But limited, great way to push through, get a little extra damage in, and it will trigger some on hit effects, which is pretty cool. So fresh and limited, stanky and constructed. Ooh, next we got Shock Charmers. This is another foil that's gonna look pretty awesome. So this is a lightning equipment arms. It has 0 defense. It has Spell Void 2. If you don't know what Spell Void is, hero will be dealt arcane damage. You may destroy Shock Charmers instead. If you do, prevent 2 arcane damage from that source, or 2 arcane damage that source would deal. Instant. 2 resources. The next time an attack action card you control hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. So first of all, I think Plunder Run in this deck is gonna be out of control because all these extra on hit effects, you're gonna draw cards like crazy. I think Shock Charmers is a fresh to death card. It looks like not much, but that when you build your deck to really get in there and make the most use out of all these on hit effects, I think it's gonna just play so well. So fresh to death. Next we got Shock Striker. It's a cool looking hippogriff kind of thing. It's a 1-costed lightning attack action with 5 attack, 2 defense, 4 and 3 for yellow and blue. Once per turn, instant. Pay 2. Shock Striker gains. If Shock Striker hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them. I don't know. It's stanky and constructed for sure. Limited, you'll play it. It's lightning card for your fuse. It's a little resource intensive to get that extra hit. Yeah, it's fine. I almost go a little more stale. I mean, I guess you can double up, so you can. Yeah, it's true. It actually gonna play pretty fresh and limited. So, because it's once per turn. You can't double up. It'll be fine. It's fine. Some stale-ish, like it's about to go stale. Next we got Weave Lightning, which is a 0-costed lightning and non-attack action at rare. It has 2 defense. The next lightning or elemental attack action card you play this turn gains +3. If it's fused, it gains go again. And then the yellow has +2, blue has +1. This is going to play really well in your lightning deck. 100%. I mean, as long as you're making them, if you're fusing, you're using, man. But yeah, no, awesome card and really cool art. Well, it's just the art has been so great. So next we got exposed to elements. So these are three majestics I have here next to each other. First is exposed to elements. They are this one is a pitches for a blue. It's 2 costs. It's elemental instant. It has earth and or ice fusion, so you can fuse either or both. It says if exposed to the elements was fused with an earth card, put a -1 defense counter on target equipment. That is brutal. If exposed to elements was fused with an ice card, destroying equipment with 0 defense controlled by target hero unless they pay 2. Oh my god, that's brutal. That is intense. Holy smoke. That's fresh to death. I mean, that card is brutal. Man, this card is like nasty. He's going to be destroying all these like super expensive equipment people have out on the field. But hey, it's the flesh and blood game. I don't know. But yeah, fresh to death on that card. But next we have the Majestic Flash Freeze, which is a 1-costed elemental non-attack action with 2 defense. This one has ice and or lightning fusion, so you can do either or both. If Flash Freeze was fused with an ice card, attacks you control this turn gain, when you attack with this, it gains Dominate unless the defending hero pays 2 resources. Brutal. That's all turn. If Flash Freeze was fused with a lightning card, attacks you control this turn gain, if this hits a hero, deal 3 damage to them. Oh my god. And then go again. Oh man. If you can pitch, or not pitch, if you can fuse on both sides, I mean, it feels like the turn is just over, like the game's over. That's such a powerful card. I mean, so is Exposed Element. I think, and let's just, I mean, I fresh to death on Flash Freeze, and we're going to get to Fulminate now, which is a 2-costed elemental non-attack action with 2 defense. It pitches for yellow. Oh, Flash Freeze pitches for red, by the way. Fulminate pitches for yellow. It has earth and or lightning fusion, so one or the other, or both. If Fulminate was fused with an earth card, attack action cards you control gain 3+3 attack this turn. If Fulminate was fused with a lightning card, attack action cards you control gain go again this turn. Go again. Another card is going to set up a huge turn. I don't think this one is as strong, but it's going to play well in the lightning deck. Yeah, I think this is still going to play fresh to death, but it's not quite fresh to death plus like Exposed to the Elements and Flash Freeze, but still very good. Next we got the Fabled. Oh man, it's gonna be tough to read this one. So this is Korshem Crossroad of Elements, which is an elemental attack or elemental action landmark. Cost 1. When you arrive at the legendary Korshem, go again. Whenever a hero reveals a card, they gain resource or gain health, or their next attack this day gains, which I think is this turn, gains +1 attack, or the next attack card they defend with this day gains 1 defense. At the end of each day, depart Korshem if no heroes gained any of them. So I guess a day is your turn and the next turn and your opponent's turn. So I mean, this card's really good. I mean, you just want to open this card. It's a Fabled. I'm just gonna give it fresh to death. I think I understand it. just play it and win with it, I guess. It seems pretty dope. And I hope I open one. But I haven't opened a Fabled yet. But maybe Tales of Aria will have that in store for me. And finally, we have the Pulses. These are cool cards. And these cards are great for the Fuse cards the Fuse Mythic or Majestics that we saw earlier. Unfortunately, they're legendary. So Pulse of Candlehold is a 0-costed Earth, Lightning, non-attack action that defends for 3, pitches for yellow. Legendary. You can only have 1 in your deck. Put up to 2 target Earth, Lightning, and or Elemental action cards from your graveyard on top of your deck. Banish Pulse of Candlehold. Go again. Okay. I think that's pretty dang good, I would say. Nothing like making sure you draw what you need the next turn. I think it's Fresh to Death. I think they probably all are going to be. Oh man, I love this next one. Pulse of Eisenloft. This is a card I'll be playing big time. This is a 2-costed Ice Earth Defense reaction. Pitches for blue. 6 defense. Legendary. Ice Earth Elemental action cards have +1 defense while defending this turn. Yeah, this is just, no damage getting through this turn, man. Holy smokes. So good. I like that card so much. Fresh to Death. And then we got Pulse of Volthaven, which is the 0-costed Lightning Ice instant, which pitches for red. Let me get that. Yeah, it's a little bit better. It is legendary. And it says your next Lightning, Ice, or Elemental attack this turn gains +4. So I think that the cost to play these in your constructed decks is pretty low. Takes up 1 slot. And this, guaranteeing a +4 for 0 at instant speed, pretty good. I don't think that one's as good as the other 2, but still Fresh to Death. And it's going to play well in the aggro deck. And also you can fuse it with Flash Freeze. You can hit both sides of Flash Freeze, which, game over. Fresh to Death. But, so that is going to do it for this podcast. We did it. We went through them all. I had a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for listening. And this is going to be up on YouTube as a visual version, as I said. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And definitely let me know. I could be way off with some of these card evaluations. Who knows? I mean, I'm just learning how to really evaluate them. Now I think I've gotten a lot better, but definitely point out anything that I could do better. And let me know if there's anything that you want me to discuss in the future. I got tons of stuff planned coming up. I wanted to get some more guests on, and so definitely make sure you can subscribe to our YouTube. That's where I'm going to be posting the visual version of this, which is let me get the actual name of it. I think it's just Fresh and Buds. And then on iTunes, we're on iTunes. Please subscribe, rate, review, leave a good review or a bad one if you think I suck. Anything helps. You can just search me Fresh and Buds on YouTube. That's gonna be it. And then my Twitter is twitter.com/freshbudspod. And then my email is freshbudspod@gmail.com if you have any questions or you want to reach out or anything. And then on Twitter, always feel free to, at me or DM me if you guys have any questions or even just, have a concern or anything like that. And really loving the community here in Flesh and Blood, and can't wait to keep doing this and making some stuff for you guys. But until next time, I've been Tommy Fresh, and you guys have been my buds, and I can't wait to play this set. See you guys.